You ever have a dream where you're traveling the world, making new friends, jumping on frogs, but your hat won't shut up about collecting rocks? Well, that's what you get when you throw Elden Ring's bosses, Breath of the Wild's collectibles, and every failed YouTube proposal into a blender. A sweet little cocktail of color, whimsy, and psychological warfare known as Super Mario Odyssey! If you're like me, you bought this game at launch, snagged 500 moons, and thought, wow, this is great. And then never touched it again. But why? How does one of the brightest stars in the 3D Mario empire burn out so quickly? How does a game this creative end up feeling kinda forgettable? Well, today we're gonna unravel that mystery. Now, don't get me wrong, I love this game. It's easily in my top 3 3D Marios of all time. My first file I played hit like 90%, and I just recently played through the entire thing again on Twitch. I've put in the time, and I enjoyed most of it, but I still walked away feeling a little fatigued. So to keep you from clicking anything on that sidebar, I'm gonna break this down into a couple of sections. Today we're gonna talk about the gameplay and the capture systems, the kingdoms, and finally we will ask, how does it hold up? But before we get any further, let's set the stage for why this game means so much to me. Wheel out the hello! First, let's travel back to 2017, when I was a little younger and actively having my soul eaten away by corporate America. I used to sit in my little office chair every day and just dream about the games I'd be able to play when I got home. And since this was near the beginning of the Switch's life cycle, there were games coming out constantly. But of course, the game that I was most stoked for was Super Mario Odyssey. Yeah, I realized I was a little bit old to be that excited for that game, but it was the next 3D Mario and I was pumped regardless. Whimsy knows no age limits. Anyways, one day I was driving home from work after a particularly brutal day when I saw a poster that said Super Mario Odyssey out now. I thought it had to be fake. I immediately pulled up my GPS and punched in the nearest Best Buy and sprinted over there in my Prius. I figured that I would be too late, but if there's a big line, I'd just leave. So I roll into the parking lot at around 8:20 and I see that there's only 2 or 3 people in line, so I just snuck right in behind them. But like 10 minutes later, I look behind me and there are 20 or so people that have already lined up. And everyone was looking at their phones stressed. Because apparently you had to reserve your spot in line to get a copy of the game. Obviously, I didn't have a goddamn clue about that. So I just stood there like I belonged. I didn't say a word. Then a bit later, the staff actually came out and started handing out official Nintendo merchandise for the launch of the game and thanking us for reserving our spots in line. Again, not a goddamn word except thank you. Actually, I think I still have the token that they gave me. Yeah, look at this thing. Pretty cool. Anyways, they let me in without actually checking anything, so I immediately grabbed the game as fast as possible and got out of there as fast as a 2006 space gray Toyota Prius can take you. Oh, and then of course, my boss found out the next morning that I was suddenly ill and would not be able to make it in. So yeah, Odyssey holds a special place in my heart. Mostly because of that crazy sprint to Best Buy, but the other reason it sticks with you is because of the sweet ass hello! But before we actually dive into anything, we need to talk about the look of the game. It is unbelievably good. When I first loaded it up, I was genuinely blown away by how stunning the visuals are. Mario's more high def than ever, and every world feels alive and detailed. The worlds respond as you move through them, and every place feels like an actual place, not just a video game level. And the little attention to detail and characteristics are really where this game shines. I mean, they even added jiggle physics, but decided to only give it to Mario's nose and Madame Brood's mommy mooners, which is a wild choice. But anyways, this game looks and feels so good that at times it can be even a little bit jarring. Because Mario is still his cartoonish self, so seeing him against realistic backgrounds and next to actual human beings can be a little bit off-putting. But it also adds to the chaos and fun that is this game. It's clear the devs didn't give a hoot about what Mario looks like as long as the player is having fun jumping around. Oh, and trust me, this game is a blast. I still have fun playing it to this day. I find myself a lot of times just running around and jumping with no clear objective. Yes, there are a few issues that take away from that fun, We'll get to those in a minute. But overall, this is just an enjoyable experience from start to finish. And all that enjoyment starts with the movement, which has been completely revitalized and is probably at the best it's ever been in the entire series. I'm so sorry to my sweet baby boy Sunshine, but this might have to take the #1 spot. I mean, everything just feels incredible and fluid. It lends itself perfectly to anyone who picks up the sticks regardless of their prior experience or knowledge. Even coming in as a vet, I struggled at first because everything felt slower and more controlled compared to the chaos I was used to. Honestly, I thought it was dumb. But the more that Mario actually listened to my inputs, the more I realized how genius it was. This is the most versatile moveset yet, and the world feels like it's perfectly tailored to let you just run with it. Every single new element is a 10 out of 10. Especially the cap bounce. Holy shit. This is peak. It almost makes me forgive them for absolutely nerfing the spin jump. That's the only way that this could have been truly perfect. Revert the spin jump, you nerds. Oh, sorry. Please revert the spin jump, you nerds. But while all of this movement may have been revolutionary and help you clear things with ease, the main issue comes in the challenge, being that there barely is one. This game rarely punishes you. There's no time limits, no death penalties, and there aren't even that many LILs. Oh, that's lock-in levels, by the way. Yes, we are starting a new word. And even when you do come across something that is slightly challenging, most likely it doesn't matter at all and you can skip it due to the poopy butt moon system. Yeah, I'm gonna be real, I hate the moons. First off, there are way too many of these goddamn things. I mean, 900 to complete the game? You're out of your mind. It would be one thing if these were all spread out and hard to find, but half of them are just sitting out in the open, and that takes away from the whole experience. In Sunshine Galaxy, the stars and shines felt like actual goals. They had weight, rewards for a hard day's work that would whisk you somewhere else and remind you that you would actually accomplish something. Not with moons. They don't do shit. Also, what are they? Because, I mean, we never really find out except for that they're used to power cities. But then why can civilians have them? Shouldn't that be illegal, or at least shouldn't they be highly sought after? I mean, some dude hands me one on a bench because he was feeling lonely. How is that okay, Pauline? Yeah, I'm ranting, but basically, I just want fewer moons and tougher challenges. But while the moons may have struggled to make this game great for me, one of the big redeeming factors was the capture system. The variety they added to this game through this one mechanic alone is honestly impressive. Possess a frog, commandeer a T-Rex, turn into a hunk of meat. Each one is a little brief burst of power that shows the genius ideas at play. But each one only lasts about 10 or 15 seconds. And only 3 or 4 get any real attention. The rest are like short little demos that go away before you've actually gotten the chance to master them. But again, none of the downsides matter as long as you're having fun and engaging with the game. And this story is one of the most weirdly engaging ones they have told yet. I loved the idea of chasing Bowser around the world and cleaning up his messes as you go. Well, it doesn't have world-ending stakes like Galaxy, but it makes sense. This is a wacky, whimsical game with an objectively dumb story. But just like all Mario stories, the setting and characters bring you right back to caring. And all of that care really manifests itself in the crowning achievement of this game. The one thing that got me stoked back then and still perks my nips now, Hello, little toads! One of the boldest things Odyssey did was ditch traditional Mario level design. Instead of building levels around tight platforming challenges, it felt like they built the world first, and then tucked in the platforming afterwards. So instead of hopping around floating blocks in the void, you're parkouring around a city skyline, or a sprawling desert ruin, or a snowy tundra. Oh, and even, just like we all asked for, a volcano made of soup. Just like in Sunshine, potentially my GOAT Mario game, by the way, watch my video, most levels start out locked, but then beat a mini-boss and bang! Everything opens up. That slow drip of access keeps you curious, keeps you poking around and trying to figure out what's just behind the next corner. But most of the classic Mario platforming, like the floating blocks and the platforms that make no sense and the weird liminal spaces, got shoved into little side rooms. Because the main areas were supposed to feel real. Everything had to make sense in universe. Which, yeah, is a cool idea, but it's also kind of restricting. Because not every kingdom nails that balance between believable setting and fun platforming. Some feel alive and flow, and others feel like the devs were locked in separate rooms and weren't allowed to talk to each other. So let's break these puppies down. And yeah, this is a long one, so pop your addy and strap on. I mean in. The Cap Kingdom. Great setting and fun intro for the game because of how different it is from typical Mario openers. But let's not kid ourselves. This shit's kinda boring. Like, I get what they were going for, fogs, hats, a bit of a spook, but I didn't find myself excited to come back here. The Cascade Kingdom. Peak! Intro level. The music, the lighting, the big-ass T-Rex. It's the perfect way to introduce you to the world and get your feet wet with the mechanics. It sets the tone that Mario can become anything. Even a fossil. And then, as soon as you do become a fossil and possess that dinosaur, you immediately destroy hundreds of years worth of archaeological treasures. Indiana Jones would fucking hate this game. The Sand Kingdom. My second favorite kingdom in the entire game. I mean, this place nails the main idea. Here's a big-ass world, go explore and get everything. The blend of ruin, town, desert, and floating junkyard gives you just enough direction while also giving you enough freedom to go full gremlin crackhead collectathon mode. I think it captures Odyssey's vibe better than any other level in the game. The Lake Kingdom. This place is pretty small and forgettable, but it does raise the single most important question in the history of Mario lore. Why are the male Goombas wearing wedding veils? This means Goombas fall in love. Goombas get married. Goombas might even bang? I mean, we do have a canonical size queen, but this raises a lot more issues than that. Because basically, for decades, we have been stomping little sentient mushroom men with thoughts, feelings, dreams, desires, and families. Also, what are the politics of Goomba marriage? What are the tax structures? Is there Goomba polyamory? I'm asking the real questions, and despite my constant DMs, Nintendo refuses to answer them. Cowards. The Wooded Kingdom. You already know what I'm gonna say. This music goes nuts. This whole world feels like a genuine adventure. You're exploring, not just platforming, and I love it. Oh, but the Deep Woods? Cheeks. You mess up once and suddenly you are tossed into a dark hellscape with no fast travel. They literally built a basement just to punish you. There's no light, there's no music, there's no joy. Just fear, anguish, and despair. I mean, Jesus, I didn't pop in Elden Ring, you psychos. Also, side theory, I think this is actually the prototype that led to the depths in Tears of the Kingdom. I know I'm 100% wrong about that, but let's gaslight me for a little bit, The Lost Kingdom. This is what I'm talking about. No realism, no logic, just a poison jungle swamp with tons of platforms. There is so much charm and life packed into this little area and none of it makes any sense. It's great. Every world tries so hard to be a realistic setting that follows logic and rules, but Lost throws all of that out the window just to have some dope platforming with real stakes. One wrong step leads to death, and the enemies actually feel like threats here, not just obstacles to stomp over while you're doing your platforming. Just pure challenging fun. The Metro Kingdom. I'm gonna start by saying, who the hell gets a taxi in a city this small? If you call a cab in New Donk City, your legs better be broken. Because if they aren't, I'll make sure they are, you lazy little shit. Whoa, that took a turn. Anyways, Metro is incredible. Coming here for the first time really sold me on the game as a whole. There's just something magical about flinging yourself across and off of buildings with zero fall damage. Also, the finale of this world with the music festival is gonna be a gaming memory that I will hold for the rest of my life. The Snow Kingdom. This place starts as a freezing white void with zero personality, and then pow! Drops you into the most charming little Inuit village you have ever seen in your life. And to top it all off, it is chock full of these lovely little round fellas. No, I did not Google their name because that is irrelevant. The only thing that really matters is the sounds that they make. Here, have a taste. Step aside, Italian. I think we found the new love language.
The Seaside Kingdom.
Best underwater level maybe ever, and easily my favorite kingdom in the whole game. The music by itself will keep it in that top spot for me forever, but the unparalleled level of chill this level has is really what brings it home. And then exploring it, you gain a sense of just how this little world is connected and just how many underwater secrets there are to find. Also, this just goes to show that if given the chance, Nintendo would absolutely knock Sunshine 2 out of the park. Listen to me, Nintendo. You want to make Sunshine 2. You will make Sunshine 2. The Ruined Kingdom. You drop into a decimated kingdom with a giant dragon named the Lord of Lightning. And then just move on. No explanation, no context, no follow-up. It raises about 300 questions that Odyssey has zero intentions of answering. I mean, this place feels like an intern accidentally submitted an Elden Ring level and then it didn't get caught in QA. I mean, also, how is it nobody else in the Mario universe is concerned with this dragon? Does he just chill there? What the hell's going on? Bowser's Kingdom. The feudal Japan theme here is visually amazing, but the level structure feels a little bit too stitched together. I want Bowser's Kingdom to be one big, dangerous, interconnected fortress that you have to snake your way through. But as the home base of Bowser and our last stop on this journey, it was a little lackluster. Also, why the hell are the humans working in the shops here? I understand that we humans will sell our morals for just a little bit of cash, but what kind of deal is Bowser offering these people? The Mushroom Kingdom. Okay, I never played Mario 64. Roast me if you want, but even without the nostalgia, this area went hard. It's basically the perfect victory lap. But there is no music. Why did they do this? This silence honestly makes me feel like Peach is about to pop out of a bush at any moment and tell me that she's the actual final boss of the game. Whew, alright, damn, that was a lot. Honestly, I kind of forgot how many kingdoms there are in this game. But anyways, now that we've talked about the worlds, let's get right down to the question that this entire video has been leading up to. See you soon! So, does it hold up? Absolutely. But there's a couple of issues. Talking about this, we really need to break it up into what works and what doesn't. The setting and world design are obvious winners here. Each kingdom feels wholly unique and carefully crafted, and the variety between each of them is crazy. One minute you're swimming in a pool of Pepto-Bismol, and the next you're fighting Parthenax. Yes, I absolutely loved each of these worlds, but a lot of times it felt like I was playing an entirely separate game. Which isn't awful, but it can just be a little distracting. And speaking of distracting, we now get to talk about the music. First off, yes, every single song in this game slaps. But, and this is a big but, sometimes you wander around a kingdom in absolute silence. It's really weird. You'll land and it's totally quiet. And it would completely take me out of the situation every single time it happened. I mean, at first I had to check the settings a couple times just to make sure I didn't accidentally turn off the music option. But no, it's just Nintendo telling me to lock in, I guess? I don't know, I found it really weird. Another thing that worked really well was the capture system. Being able to possess everything from frogs to tanks is still a banger idea. Even if the execution wasn't perfect, the creativity here is undeniable. They cooked with this part of the game. But unfortunately, the dish came out a little bit underdone, because most of them are barely used. You get a taste of something cool and then it's gone, only to be used in that one specific scenario. The Pokio and the little growing plant guy are the only ones you get to stick with for any extended amount of time. Basically, vast as an ocean, deep as a puddle. And the moons suffer from the exact same problem. Way too many. Half of them just feel like participation trophies, because when everything is a reward, nothing feels rewarding. Just another moon to toss into the pile. And the fact that you don't get kicked out of the level every time you get one, sure, that's great for flow, but it kills the satisfaction of knowing you've done something meaningful. But what did feel meaningful was the story. This is the best Mario story since Galaxy. I mean, I don't even know if I would count 3D World as having a story. It just kind of seems like a thinly veiled kink fest. Anyways, when I first started playing this game, I was incredibly invested, and replaying it only intensified that feeling. Mostly because I knew what was coming. Stay strong out there, kings. We will find a princess that wants us back. I think that if Nintendo were to ever do an Odyssey 2, they'd have to tweak and refine a couple of things. We can't just have more dudes added to the roster when their only thing is to walk around and look cool. But yes, they do look very cool. But the main reason why this game still holds up is because of how incredibly fun it is. There's not one moment where I didn't find myself smiling or having a good time. You can verify that too, go check my VODs. Anyways, this game is just pure, unregulated, wholesome good times. And I can't think of any better time than now to bring a little bit of whimsy back into the world. So yeah, Odyssey does hold up, and I think you should give it another shot. But if they ever make a sequel, please, fewer moons, deeper captures, and let me put Cappy on my fists. Oh, and Nintendo, if you're watching this, here's the plan for your next game. Super Mario Odyssey Sunshine 2. Open world, rated M. You're welcome. Hey, thanks for watching. This is video number 4 here on the channel. I feel like we're still at the beginning of this journey, but I'm super stoked for the future. The support that you guys have been showing has been absolutely insane. So thanks for liking, subscribing, all that good stuff. I can't really thank you enough. I love making these videos and editing and doing all this stuff, and none of it would be possible without you guys. So just thanks again. And until the next video, I'm gonna be chilling right here with my new sugar mama. See you then.